so.
Welcome to today's wonderful episode of Bledsoe Said So. Today, Ryan, Alex, and I.
And Dee Dee.
And Dee Dee. Show her on the camera. Make sure the camera can see her. Dee Dee.
Hey.
Ryan and Jenny's precious little kitty Dee Dee is here. She couldn't be separated from us. We're going to be talking about one of, at least Ryan and I's favorite things to discuss, which is music. Music. If you don't know, for those of you that don't know, Ryan and I, musicians, eh?
I was thinking more like the Seagulls from
Finding
Nemo. But they're in Australia, so.
Yeah. Mine.
Yeah. They are in Australia, so.
We're talking music today. Really, I mean, I guess it's kind of going to be a conversation about art in general, but, the art that Ryan and I connect with the most would be music. And I think it's the art form that we've explored the most,
Yeah, for sure.
So why are we talking about music today? It's not just because we want to talk about music because we're interested in it, but we have come to find that art, music, whatever medium of art it is that you participate in, is psychic. It is art is a psychic form. I fully believe, we've said many times on this show that we believe everyone's psychic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, to some degree, and there are different abilities, different levels, yada, yada, whatever. Everyone is psychic. Well, think about that. I thought about it the other day, and this thought popped into my head. Well, hang on. If everybody's psychic and art is a psychic medium, does that mean that everyone on the planet is an artist? And I'm really into Rick Rubin, who's this amazing, like, one of the most prolific producers in American history, probably just the history of the world. I mean, he is responsible for, you could pretty much name an artist and he has produced them at some point. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jay-Z, like the list is endless. Anyway, he just came out with this book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And it's just things that he has found over the years to be true to him about art. And, the art form that he engages most in, like us.
When I was in elementary school, that was how I thought you drew a boob.
So for those of you that are watching the video, look at this. This is what Ryan thought a boob looked like.
One time I got caught. We were in computer class. I was in the third grade, and I drew on Microsoft Paint when I was supposed to be doing Mavis Beacon. I drew two very large alchemical symbols of the sun, and my teacher caught me, and I got in trouble.
Yeah,
told you, man, I was risen early.
You were risen early, son. Yeah. So no, this is not a boob. This picture is not a boob, nor is it a record. But what it actually is, which is super cool, this is the alchemical symbol of the sun. It's a circle with a dot straight in the middle of it. So that's the cover of this book, and every single chapter also has that symbol on it. So when I saw that, and I've seen many interviews from Rick Rubin, I'm like, hold up, this guy is tapped in.
I guess because of his book just coming out, but like there are clips of him really viral right now. I've even seen a few. Like, not like I've watched his interviews, but I've even seen a few of his clips, not even knowing who he was until you showed me who he was. And
yeah, I mean, I've only known about him for maybe, I'd say like 2 years or maybe 3 years at most. He's literally been doing this since before I was born. In fact, many attribute him to the reason that hip hop became successful in the way that it did. Basically, he tells this incredible story about how he would go to see some of the very earliest hip hop artists, and
like in the 80s and 90s, maybe.
Oh yeah, like early to mid 80s. Like, I'm talking the very beginnings,
right?
Like Queen Latifah, like the Furious Five, like the very first rappers
awesome, dude.
On the scene. And so he would listen to the records that would come out of these rappers, and then he would go and see them live, and he noticed something. He noticed that live, they are capturing this like lightning in a bottle type vibe that is like so palpable and so tangible and so strong. And then when he would hear the records, he was like, okay, so the source material is the same, but it just is not carrying the same vibe. It's like, it's almost too overproduced, too overthought about, and there's no life in it anymore. And so he basically just had the idea. He was like, wait a minute, I bet if these songs were just performed as they are performed live and we capture it in the right way, we can capture the vibe on the recording. And so he just rolled the dice and just asked one of his favorite rappers that he was seeing live, like, hey, do you think I could just like sit in with you next time you record a track? I have some ideas or whatever. The guy asked him like, oh, what kind of ideas? He told him, he gave him a chance. It became an extremely successful record. And then from that point forward, he has been instrumental in the world of hip hop. And so many people don't even know about him.
Yeah, I just found out about him like, a month or two ago when he told me about him. And it's mind-blowing when you listen to him speak.
Yeah, 100%. And even me, like as prolific as he is and as interested in music as I am, I only heard about him a few years ago. And he's been around the whole time. He's produced Metallica. I mean, he is massive. This is where it gets really, really interesting. If he says in interviews all the time, if you listen to him, he says he knows nothing about music. Nothing. He says I don't really play.
I can't even work a soundboard.
Yeah. He's like, I don't play very many instruments. I don't know how to work a soundboard. I don't know how to engineer any of that. And people are like, what do you do then? The thing that he offers to the artists that he works with is he understands the medium of art. He understands that it doesn't come from us. It doesn't come from anything human. It's out there somewhere else. It's in the collective consciousness. And he literally says that in this book many times. There are examples of this idea going back even to Greek mythology, to Babylonian mythology, like Bababooian mythology, of like, you guys have probably heard of the Muses. Like I've talked about the Muses a lot because I believe that concept is a real thing.
Right. It's like the Greek myth is all, as we understand from an esoteric perspective, it's all metaphor, but the metaphor is true. That there is the concept that the gods, or in this case, consciousness, right, speaks through us through some active force, or as the Greeks would say, the muses. Uh-huh. Music is like, it comes from somewhere else.
It does. And like, it's not like anybody knows exactly where it comes from, but I guarantee that every person out there, even if you're not musically inclined or don't consider yourself a musician, I know without a doubt you have had original music pop into your head.
For sure.
You have too, Alex? Everyone does.
I promise. Everyone does. Has to be.
I promise. What you got?
Mine's all classical.
Serious. Do you play any instruments?
No, I can't.
I mean,
you won't.
Sir. I haven't been able to at the level that keeps me entertained.
Is that something you'd ever like to do, or not?
I feel like I haven't found the right instrument.
Okay, yeah, no, that's like super, super common. Well, let me ask you this. Since we're kind of more generally talking about art, is there an art form that you feel most drawn to? And you might have to think outside the box a little.
Probably what we do here, so like writing or filmmaking.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is totally art. And that's another huge misconception. So I think so many more things are art than people realize. I think that like even the person who works 12 hours a day comes home and the only thing they have energy to do is watch TV. I think watching, digesting, processing, I think that's all art. Okay, follow me here. Think about this outside the box a little bit. We said this on a previous episode. Everything that we experience in life is all our mind. Everything that you see, everything you hear, it's all your brain orchestrating this beautiful symphony of experiences around you. But it's all 100% of the computing power is happening right here, up in the top of your head, all of it. So everything that you see and experience is literally your mind. So when you think about that in that context, that like, okay, everything I see, hear, everything that I'm experiencing, it's like your brain, even just in computing everyday life, it's this beautiful symphony. It's a creation in its own. Like your brain's constantly, literally creating your reality.
Yeah.
It's like the universe in itself is one big creative act. And that's what this book talks about. That's why it's called the creative act. The universe is literally a creative act.
Yeah, and your life is very similar to the way a song is. There's a beginning, there's an ending, there's highs, there's lows, there's a chorus, and that's possibly psychologically why we like music so much, is because there's a finite beginning and a finite end, and then in this physical form, you have those two very same things.
Wow.
And like, to take it a step further, how many biblical scriptures are there? Or like Psalms. The Psalms are supposed to be songs.
Songs, yeah.
You know? And like David played the secret chord before the Lord. He was a musician and he could wow the king and the court. And then, you know, the Hindus supposedly believe that the universe is a cosmic song and dance. And that's why Shiva is depicted as dancing. And the voice of Brahma. Brahma's the singular, right? The voice of Brahma is singing Om, which is constructing reality. And even it was Plato, I believe, or maybe it was Pythagoras, that said all the celestial bodies in space are like different chords, you know, the harmony of the spheres. Like even the universe is making music with the arrangements of the celestial bodies. And through intuiting that, he figured out the placements of, you know, the divisions
scales
on the string to find the scales. Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
I think it was Pythagoras.
Even if it 100% was, because he created what we know today as like the modern 12-note scale.
Right.
This is a hilarious little tidbit, but did you guys know that there is a note on every piano on the planet that is incorrect? There is a note on it's just the way that piano strings specifically resonate with one another. One note had to be detuned by like 16 cents, I believe. A cent is like a fraction of a semitone, so like almost imperceivable to the ear. So there is one note on the piano that is 16 cents off so that it resonates correctly. What?
E minor.
No.
There's just a random ceiling note.
Well, E minor is a chord.
Okay. There you
Or
go.
a scale.
That's my guess.
Or a scale. E flat would be the note that you're talking about, but I don't know the specific note. I don't remember it. But I know that like high level professional musicians are able to like pick out that note and do it properly with voice. It's really interesting. Anyway, that was a little side tangent. But scientifically, we've proven that everything in the universe, literally everything, is frequency. It's light frequency that has slowed down to create an illusion of matter, of hard stuff.
Yeah.
So like, if that is your foundation of understanding, it is not far-fetched to get to the fact that art is magic.
Yeah.
And I'm making that seem like a big leap on purpose because hearing art is magic sounds like
maybe not an episode title because it's specifically about music. Maybe music is magic.
That's kind of what I was thinking because it is magic. So what is magic?
Magic is using higher knowledge, will, and intent to, I guess you could say, like, manifest things in reality or bend reality to your will or alter in some way the forces of nature.
Yeah, and like creating reality would go into that as well. Like you're changing your reality in one way or another.
It's crazy when you think about it because, you know, I've had a long time to think about this, like, you know, just trying to learn drums and always trying to think about like how to allow, realizing what we're talking about is what allowed me to progress in the drums because, you know, admittedly being self-taught at 16 years old with no real professional lessons. And when you're a kid and you're immature, you just want to play what sounds cool.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then finally growing up, almost 30 now, we're making music. First single out, by the way.
It's out now. Yep. It just came out yesterday for us.
Covellini's The Storm by us, which is Twice Born.
Twice Born.
And dude, I'm so excited for people to start picking apart what all of it means.
Yeah,
but I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, coming across this, like understanding like what Nick's talking about helped me excel at the drums. It's like, it's not about having skill. Mm-mm. It's not about being good or being great at it, which is like cool. That's level one. That's like the immaturity of playing a musical instrument.
The adolescence.
It's the adolescence. It's like being immature. Mm-hmm. And I liken it to how I've been playing Jedi Survivor Fallen Order this week because I got it free on PlayStation. It's this month right now. I think it's free. And something about that, I was playing it last night when you showed up, and there's a line in that I applied to this conversation. It perfectly fits.
From Star Wars?
Yes.
Ooh.
The whole point of the game is Cal, the kid who survived Order 66.
Cal Kestis?
Yep.
Yeah.
He survives, and then he's found by this ex-Jedi named Sarah who disconnected herself from the Force, and she's trying to bring him on this mystical quest to go to ancient Jedi tombs. And these ancient Jedi were sages who, in the words of Master Cordova, which is the guy who's like through these holocrons, he's, you know, you're following his messages to find these tombs of these Jedi sages. The point of the game is to learn from these sages so that they can perceive the deeper mysteries of the Force.
Yeah, yeah.
And that clicked in my brain for this conversation. And when you understand that it's all about how you perceive music and what it truly is when you begin to connect with it and let it flow through you. Mm-hmm. And like, to me, music, I used to think about it the opposite. Mm-hmm. I used to think you had to like be really good, you know, to play something. But now I'm realizing it's about like
being a vessel.
It's about being a vessel. It's about being a channel and deepening your understanding of it so that it operates through you.
Yes.
You're not forcing it. You're not making it.
Yeah.
It is using you to make its entrance into this realm. It's like the Force.
It is, man. Another thing that Rick Rubin said was that like everything in the universe produces something. Yeah. Everything produces something from it. Everything has a purpose, and from that purpose manifests a product.
Bro, and Kabbalah, which for anybody who doesn't know what Kabbalah is, it's ancient Jewish mysticism. So like very esoteric Judaism. That's where you get the whole tree of life and all that. When I first found out about Kabbalah, I started reading some of their texts, like the Yefir it's hard to say, the Yefir Zetzerah and the Zohar. And in one of these two texts, it says that for every created object in the material world, it has a hidden invisible soul, which is exactly what you're saying. Think about this couch. People say a couch doesn't have a soul. Well, yes, it does. What is the purpose of the couch? Mm-hmm. It has a reason to exist. It has a force behind this reality that through the intention of this created being, so to say, even though it doesn't have flesh and blood, it isn't organic, it has an intent to be manifested by our will into this reality. Mm. That's the soul of the object. And that could be applied to music or anything. Everything truly does have an invisible spiritual purpose in another place. And we're just reaching out and someone sat around, what if I made this? And then boom, now we have couches.
Yeah.
Now we have everything, you know?
Sorry to cut you off, but what gets really interesting about that physical soul, like a non-organic object having that soul, is when you get into like the family heirlooms or the lucky tokens, the things that you are giving that to on purpose.
Yeah.
And then the family heirlooms where you hold something inanimate but feel so much.
That's vibroturgy. The Rosicrucians call that vibroturgy. Which is like being sensitive to the vibrations that are impregnated into an object. That's their words. And it's like, dude, music is the same. It's the same thing.
Well, art in general. Yeah. Right. So yeah, he says like everything in the universe has a product. It produces something, and like a tree, it produces fruit or whatever. Like a vine produces grapes or fruit or whatever. And he says that art is the fruit of humanity. It is what grows from us. It's what comes from us. And so when you start thinking about art in this frame of mind, from this reference point, you will realize, like I said earlier, I'm sure all of you have had just an original song pop into your head out of nowhere, and you're like, where did that come from? Or it could be a line that would be in like a book or a movie, or I know like everyone has a creative imagination in some way, shape, or form. You could see a scene of a movie unfolding in your brain or whatever it is. That is the fruit trying to find the place on the vine where it is going to be able to spring forth into this world. And so every time you have one of those things pop into your head, and you don't do anything with it, the fruit is still ready to be ripened and be picked from the tree. So if it can't find its way through you, it's going to go and find somebody else to come through. And you know, that's happened with me many times. I'll hear, dude, I this past year, 2022, for Casey's birthday, I wrote her a song. I made her a song, and it was just like a cute little song, whatever. And this melody kind of popped into my head, and I made the whole song in a day. I worked on it maybe 8 hours or so, and I just finished the whole thing, and I gave it to her. And then literally like a month or two later, Joji released his new album, and there's a song on it with the same melody and the same tempo.
You want to know something crazier about Joji?
What?
Remember all those years ago I was doing the Mr. Hollywood videos?
Oh, yeah.
And then very shortly after, Joji comes out with a song called Mr. Hollywood. Come on, bro.
This is what I'm saying. So it doesn't come from us. It's coming from another realm, art, inspiration.
Yeah.
Let's be
creativity.
Yeah, exactly. Creativity. It's coming from a different realm or a different layer. Or
you could even just say inspiration.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And in the ancient Greek times, they described that by depicting these like beautiful, inspiring women whispering in people's ears, whispering in their ears ideas, and like every invention ever. Like we talked about how J.R. Tolkien, the entire Hobbit just popped into his head, and he's like, "Whoa, okay, I'm gonna write this down."
The hole in the ground lived the Hobbit.
Exactly. It is art, inspiration, creativity. It comes from outside of us, and so it's really weird. But if you listen to any actor, any performer, any musician, any artist in any capacity, they will all tell you the key is getting out of your own way.
Remember in the Nicolas Cage movie? I can't remember the name of it. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
You remembered the name of it.
And in multiple instances in the film, he said verbatim the shamanic act of acting. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Yeah.
He's programming you. Yeah. You know, like this is a shamanic act.
It is, in every sense of the word, it is magic. We are. Think about it like a wizard. We were talking about this yesterday. Think about it like a wizard who does subtle rituals to gather magical power. Alex and my wife fought as wizards the other day on 1-2 Switch. Remember that?
I won.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Yeah, that's profound, man, when you think about it.
Yeah, imagine it like a wizard. Imagine if you're an artist. You're like a wizard. You are pulling something. You're pulling energy from another place, and
you're materializing it.
You are making it appear in this realm.
Like with art, you're seeing these you could say like impressions in your mind. And then if you're gifted like Casey is, you know, or whoever out there is gifted at art, you see these impressions in your mind, and then your coordination is so psychically tuned to these impressions, your body can just manifest it on paper with paint and dyes and all this. And like with music, you know, when you really think out of the box, music is only possible because we have, you know, maybe through Pythagoras or maybe even the ancients beyond him, discovered the principles of vibration and frequency, did a little bit of math, figured out these scales, and then created these gadgets. I mean, instruments are like gadgets to harness these vibrations and capture them into the material world. And when you really think about it, it is psychic mediumship recording a song, because you're creating these arrangements of truly pre-existing frequencies and vibrations, but you're capturing it and like almost telling a story with it.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, everything, one of the things I've learned doing the show is that everything is metaphorical. Everything has a higher meaning. You know, everything tells a story. Yeah. Everything has a subconscious layer of symbolism, myth, and ritual. That's what I learned in my religious studies in college. I took a class. It was called, let me think of the name. Yeah, Religion and Movies. I don't know, but I don't know the name of the class. But the purpose of the class was, it was technically a night class, so we met once a week, but it was for like 3 hours. And every class, we would watch a movie. And we were watching stuff like The Godfather, The Matrix, and lots of other movies like some Terry Gilliam. Does that sound right? I don't know.
He's a big director.
Okay.
But anyway, we were watching these movies, and then we would have to do these templates where we had to analyze the symbolism, the myth, and the ritual. Not necessarily ritual like they're in robes and pointy hats and doing spells. That's not what the definition of ritual was. But
sure.
What's up?
You're spot on with the director.
Terry Gilliam. Yeah, he's a huge director.
What is he directing?
He's a British filmmaker. Let's see.
He makes kooky movies.
Monty Python. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh my God.
Life of Brian.
Parnassus, maybe Dr. Parnassus.
Those are some.
I'm just
those are
looking
some
at
huge
top
movies.
ones.
Yeah, he's a big director, and we watched some of his films. They're usually kooky.
Yeah,
and he got a lot of like Christoph Waltz appearances. Anyway, so you know, in movies, there's always a subconscious myth, ritual, symbology. I think it's the same with art, but I'm not saying that that's conscious necessarily from the creator.
No, and I think in most cases it is subconscious, because I think that the psychic realm, whatever you want to call
it's
it,
symbolic,
but it's also subconscious. I think that's where our real psychic abilities come from. They come from the subconscious. They come from beneath the surface.
Think about it, bro. That's what Carl Jung was trying to say. Why do you think every motherfucker dreams in animals?
Yeah.
Because it's a universal symbol since
the dawn of
primeval times.
Yeah.
When we're being chased by saber-tooths and shit.
Yeah.
So like the subconscious mind operates in symbolism. Animals just happen to be universal symbols, and that's why everybody has an alligator dream or a shark dream or a bear or a spider or whatever.
Yeah.
But like when Nick and I were talking about this last night, I had this download, like, you know, that makes a lot of sense that the symbolism exists in the realm of subconscious. But then when you have individuals like us and many others who are, and Rick Rubin, you know, look at this book. It's The Alchemical Boob. When you have people who are finally not only aware, knowledgeable of, but in tune with these subtle perceptions of the psychic world, that's why folks like us with our podcast symbolism and Twiceborn symbolism and Rick Rubin and many other artists are so, it's like a compulsion, like a desperate need to put these symbols on your work. And I believe that maybe when you are an individual who is conscious of the necessity to incorporate these occult symbols, it's because the psychic power of your creativity is trying to find some sort of ritualistic sealing of its energy. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think you're spot on.
But it's unconscious. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's subconscious.
You know?
It's unconscious. It's whatever. It's like cymatics. It's weird. It's like the symbols and the lines, and they just appear through you. You're like, when it comes to all of this psychic stuff, that's what you really have to realize is that it is not you. Like, it's a different thing. So that's what I'm sure everybody has heard all these artists say, you got to get out of your own way. You got to get out of your own way. And for a long time, like, I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
But what it literally means is get out of the way and just let it happen.
Don't be judgmental.
No.
Don't be egotistical about it. That's a problem that I've had that Nick's had to guide me through with like recording drums. And it's not egotistical like when I say egotistical, I mean it in the reverse way of what you think. Like I'm having a negativity on myself, like a judgment, like, man, this isn't good enough or this or that.
Right.
And Nick's like, shut the fuck up. Just play what you feel. And we're going to play.
And most importantly, have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. Enjoy this, dude. We're making music together. We've always dreamed of this. Like, throw everything else out the window. If you have fun right now, it's gonna happen.
And it's true.
It is true.
It's true. I'm learning that over many of our sessions together.
And the reason is because it does not. Most people, when they want to get good at an instrument and when they want to create great works of art, even not an instrument, anything, what they will do is they will practice the techniques. They will, and that, you know, you do have to do some of that stuff to establish a foundation. It's like learning how to write. You don't start by creating a massive complex story. You start by literally learning how to write as a foundation.
You start with like literally learning the letters.
Yeah, you start with the bare minimum basics. But people that have been engaging in their art form for, you know, maybe they're in their intermediate phase, they're not quite a beginner, they're a little past that. Your first inclination is, if I'm going to make impressive stuff, I have to improve my skill level in order to match others who have created impressive stuff.
It's like Dragon Ball Z power scaling, bro.
Yeah,
That's how I see it now,
okay,
honestly.
yeah.
Honestly, it's like, it's a spiritual thing. It's not a physical thing.
It's not.
Because I'm learning, dude, now that I'm older and more mature and I'm trying to take it really seriously, it's like I'm realizing that when I go back, we talked about this last night, it's like working on the super advanced crazy stuff does not enhance your understanding of the fundamental stuff, in my experience. But working diligently on the fundamental stuff is like the trunk that supports the entire tree being able to grow, to nourish.
Absolutely.
You know?
So if you are looking to improve your skill level or whatever, rather than going and saying, I got to learn how to do more difficult stuff, don't do that. Focus on the basics, focus on the foundations. Like what we were talking about last night with drums, we were like, you can do the most impressive stuff in the world. If you're not in the pocket, which for those of you who don't understand, when you're a drummer, you're the backbone of the music. If you are not on time.
Pocket means, it just essentially means the groove.
Yes.
You know, the main groove that's carrying forward the song. Not all the fancy fills and all that crazy shit. The pocket's the basic part of the drums.
Yeah, like you can play the most technically simple thing in the world, but if you are perfectly in that pocket, it is going to move people.
Yeah.
Move people.
One of the best examples of that every time I hear this song, and there's a bar downtown, and my wife and I like to go downtown and walk sometimes, and every time at night I walk by this bar, there's these cheesy little live, well, I shouldn't say cheesy, but I just mean like little live performers who are paid by this restaurant. And every time I walk by at night, there is always a live band that plays Brick House. She's a brick.
Yeah.
Go listen to the pocket on that and tell me it doesn't just move you to your soul. It's simple.
It is so. It's.
But it's, yeah.
But like when you hear a drummer play that in the pocket,
yeah,
you're like, he is not even doing anything crazy right now, but like I want to move.
Yeah,
like, that's the foundation.
There's a pocket in surfing too.
Is there?
And it's what moves you.
No way.
If you're not in the pocket, you're not going forward.
Well, so surfing is art. So what specifically is the pocket like is it like a state of mind or a literal?
No,
it's a stance?
Spot. It's a spot on the wave that generates the momentum. Oh. So you basically, like, surfing is going in and out of that pocket, but you always have to come back to that pocket if you want to keep moving forward. If you go too far out in front of it or too far behind it, you're going to lose the wave.
Dude,
that's cool, man.
It's crazy the amount of parallels there are, man. It's like the whole life imitates art thing. That's because life is art. Like literally everything
honestly,
in
bro,
life is art.
Nothing but respect from surfing, because I see that as like you're harnessing the power of gravity in nature, and you're literally just riding a wave.
You're like flying over water.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. It's just like ice skating. You might not know this.
Well, you know, it's fun, man. Think about how long that wave traveled
to
be surfed.
Like thousands of miles, maybe.
Right.
Wow.
Do they really?
Yeah, man.
Whoa.
Like, especially some of the bigger breaks, like
That's mind blowing. Honestly, that is mind blowing.
and then and it's never, that one wave is never going to break again. And
never.
You just surfed it.
That's spiritual, dude.
It is.
I mean,
it's definitely spiritual.
Yeah.
It absolutely 1,000% is. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like everything is art. Everything in the world is art. And so when you say like get out of your own way, what that means is allow yourself to be a vessel. The art is not, I know, you know, a lot of people take pride in their art, and that's great. You should take pride, but don't take pride for the wrong reasons. Don't take pride because like, I came up with this sick thing, bro. It's like, no, be proud that you were used as a vessel for that idea.
Take pride in the accomplishment through your effort.
Yeah.
But a big thing that I've realized is so key is never comparing yourself to other artists or musicians, because it's not about that.
And what did I tell you, man? When we first started working on this
Twice Born,
I was debating on whether or not we should announce the thing, but we won't yet. But when we started working on it, one thing that Ryan kept coming back with was like, man, I just think that like so and so is better, and I'm just trying to get to where like I can at least be like this good, and like, is anything that I'm coming up with, like, is this even good? Like, I feel like it could be so much better, this, that, the other, like, I feel like someone else could do this better. And the thing that I told you was nobody on the planet can make whatever you're going to make. Nobody. That has nothing to do with skill. It has everything to do with the psychic realm. The downloads
and perspective.
Perspective is huge, because now this is where it gets real magical. It is, so these ideas come to you, right? As we call them, downloads, inspirations, you could call them whatever you want to call them. Then from that point forward, I see it as you are being honored with an opportunity to bring something into this world. And so you now have the responsibility of bringing that idea into the world. But every moment leading up to that moment in your life is going to in some way influence what comes next, how you manifest that thing into the world. Every time that a girl dumped you after a date and you exploded a CD in your hand, every kiss you've ever had, every time you played freaking hopscotch, everything influences your creations. And because of that, no one in the world will ever make the art that you're going to produce. That being said, if you feel called to art in any way, shape, or form, look at it as a blessing. Look at it as a gift, so that you are being blessed with a gift, because to many, inspiration is fickle.
Yeah.
It's so temporary. It's so unreliable, you could even say, because, you know, it doesn't match up with your schedule. Right? It's like, hey man, we're gonna get together on these days and we're gonna write some songs together or whatever. It's like, okay, but that doesn't mean that the ideas are gonna come to you just because you scheduled it out. That is why it's so important that when these downloads come, you capture them somehow. It doesn't matter how you capture them. It is your responsibility as an artist to capture it. So literally earlier today, I've been trying to work out this part in a song that we're going to be recording today. And there's one part that I'm like trying to figure out. And so I was like, you know what? I have a little bit of downtime. Let me try to figure this out. I took a little walk outside barefoot. I just looked around at the trees and like just kind of just walking around. And I wasn't even thinking about the song. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was emptying my mind. Empty your mind. Empty your mind. Yeah. I was emptying.
Be water, my friend.
Be water, my friend. Yeah. I emptied everything in my mind, and I made room for something to come in. And on my way back, walking back here, something popped into my mind. There are ways that you can train, you can like fine tune the antenna. There are things that you can do to fine tune that antenna. And so it's so funny because a lot of musicians, a lot of producers, when they're trying to create a great work, they'll do one of a few things.
Alchemical term.
Yeah.
The great work.
The great work. And that is, you know what great work is when you hear that. When it, in the context of art, it's things like the Iliad and the Odyssey, Citizen Kane, like the great works when you hear them, see them, whatever, when you experience them. So if that's your goal, is to make a great work, most musicians, producers, whoever it is, they'll do one of a few things. They'll say, okay, so what's the genre that we're trying to be? What are we trying to sound like? What are we trying to look like? Who are the inspirations? And what do we need to do to push the envelope and really impress people? And they'll sit around and they'll toil on those ideas, and they'll use different equipment, whatever, to try to get, a quote unquote better sound. The beauty of somebody like Rick Rubin is that when he's in a room that is collectively experiencing writer's block, he takes the exact opposite approach. He takes the approach that like a yogi would take or a guru would take. He's like, all right, let's get a change of scenery. Let's go outside, be in the sun for a little while. Let's come back in, sage the room. Why don't you just like try to, pick up a book off the wall, flip open to a page, read the first thing that you see, and it'll most likely speak to you in some way. You want to hear a crazy story about that?
Yes.
Little band that Ryan and I are obsessed with, a little band you might have heard of called System of a Down. They had an little album you might have heard of called Toxicity.
Amazing. I think it's their best album.
Guess who produced it?
Rick Rubin?
Yes.
And it was like the platinum rock and roll album of 2001.
It's one of the most groundbreaking albums ever released.
Yeah.
How about this? What's the song off of that album?
Toxicity. Well,
no. I mean the
Chop Suey.
Chop Suey.
It's the viral one.
How about this? This is crazy. This is crazy, dude.
I've heard Chop Suey.
Yeah, of course you have. Everyone has.
Angels deserve to. Yeah.
How about this? They get all the way up to the part before the final, like, "Why have you forsaken?" Like, they get all the way
Mystical lyrics, by the way.
Hold up.
Okay.
Hold up,
okay.
dude. Hold up.
Yeah.
They get all the way up to right before that part, and everybody in the room freezes. They're all like, "Wait, what comes next? Like, what do we do? What do we do after that?" It was Serge specifically was like, I have
Serge is the vocalist.
The vocalist.
He's
like, I don't know what the next lyric is. I'm not finding the inspiration. I just don't know. Like, I've tried some things and none of it works. And like, I've been toiling over these lyrics for months. I can't figure out this part. Rick Rubin, he says, pick a book off the wall, any book. He grabbed a book. He goes, open it to a page, look at me in the eye, and point your finger on the page. He opened the book. He points his finger. He looks down. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Father, into your hands, why have you forsaken me?
You know what that's from?
The Bible.
The Bible.
Yeah,
it's when he's on the cross.
Yeah.
Why have you forsaken me, Father? Into your hands I commend my spirit.
Which is arguably like the big climax of the song. It's why have you forsaken? It's like the big.
In your arms forsaken.
Dude.
And then it talks about becoming the Son.
Dude, it's so weird that he was just like, boom, point.
But what is that? But again, that's just
crazy.
evidence of, for people who have incredible artistic or creative, or I mean, let's just call it what it is, psychic potential. Because art is truly manifested, from another place. That just goes to show that there are higher forces that are subconsciously compelling the person to capture the essence of the mysticism to enhance the art. Because, dude, we talk about this on the show all the time. Art that's mystical, art that's symbolic, it's way better.
And I think that is because they're drawing from the true source. That's what he calls it in the book. He calls it the source. Because he's like, no one knows what it is. Nobody knows what it is. We know it comes from our collective consciousness because these things only appear to humans from what we understand. So we know it comes from the collective consciousness, but we don't know what it is, where it is, how it works, if it obeys the rules of time, which like he thinks it doesn't, and like it can't. Time is literally a human construct. It doesn't really exist. Time is a big ball, but you have to understand and accept that it's not you. If you are an artist, it might sound a little weird, but you're a tool. You are a utensil. Like
you're a vessel.
You're a vessel for it to flow.
It's almost like the human operating the instrument is another multi-layered instrument.
It's an instrument
for the force of music.
Absolutely. I fully believe that like we ourselves are instruments, and the things that we call instruments are man-made extensions of our bodies that allow us to just
capture vibrations.
Capture the vibration. What? What, Alex? What are you gigging?
Mathematically.
What are you gigging?
You hear me? Capture vibrations mathematically.
Bet.
Yeah.
What are you gigging about?
My bodily instrument makes some vibrations sometimes.
Oh, my God.
Explain yourself, please.
Like,
why don't you go into excruciating detail? Look into your camera while you do it.
And you know what? While we're saying weird shit, I just have to say, I've always been obsessed with rock hard rock and roll.
All right. All right, dude. Rock hard, bro.
That's metal.
Yes. I think it's so funny, by the way, that it was like rock. And then what's harder than a rock? Like hard rock.
Yeah.
And then like what's even harder than like a really hard rock? Metal, dude.
Yeah.
It's like.
What's harder than that?
Heavy metal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's like heavy, dude. It's like. What's after
that?
Twice born. No, okay, I got another fun example. I told you about this one already. Alex, are you familiar with the song 99 Problems?
Yes.
Okay, so how about this? Do you remember how the song starts, maybe by chance? It's really iconic how it starts. Do you? No?
Not off the top. Is it piano?
No. So I'll just tell you the story. So Rick Rubin was working with Jay-Z at the time. This was like the height of Jay-Z's career. It's actually right before the height of Jay-Z's career, because when he released this album that he worked with Rick on, that's when he really exploded. I mean, he was definitely huge before that. But anyway, they're working on 99 Problems, and Jay-Z is like, stuck. He's like, I don't know how to, like, I just don't know how the song starts. I don't know how it starts.
You talking about the lyrics?
Yeah, it's a cappella. It starts a cappella.
Yeah, I know how it starts.
So he's like, I don't know how the song starts, and whatever. And Rick's like, let's go outside for a minute. Let's just
step in nature,
meditate for a second. Nobody talk, nobody do anything. And the funny thing is like that's Jay-Z was obviously like, all right, that's a little woo woo, like, or or whatever. But he's like, this dude has Grammys all around his house from working with Johnny Cash. And
by the way, he looks like a hobo.
Oh yeah, he looks like he wears greasy shirts and he's barefoot all the time and he's got huge hair and whatever. So he's like, let's go outside, let's walk around for a little bit and don't talk. Nobody, just make room for inspiration. Comes back inside, sages the place, and they're sitting there for a minute. He sits down on the couch and he's just like bobbing his head like this. And then he goes, oh dude. He's like, oh, what if it starts off a cappella? And Jay-Z's like, what do you mean? And then he just raps it a cappella, and then he's like, hit me, and then the song starts. And Jay-Z's like, oh, that's it. That's got to be it. It's one of the most iconic songs. Like, it's probably Jay-Z's biggest song ever, and that's how it starts. And it's because Rick Rubin made room for the inspiration. So it's so funny. Like the way we all try to get better at art is actually so counterintuitive
right.
to making true great art.
It's ego, but when you put it in those terms, you got to remove the ego from it and just allow the pure meditative state of receptivity.
Yeah. Another thing is like Childish Gambino, one of his biggest songs ever is called 3005. He's like, I woke up with that song in my head.
And you're in a theta state when you first wake up.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I learned another really bizarre thing the other day. Dude, the day our song came out, I like pulled out my phone and started streaming it. And I almost had a panic attack because I was like, this sounds way too fast. I was like, I don't know.
I thought the same thing.
Dude.
I woke up yesterday and my wife started playing it and I was like in a half asleep state and I said, is that sped up?
Dude, this is weird. This is really, really, it doesn't make sense to me. But I Googled it because that happened more than once. I would wake up, listen to it, and I would be like, why does it sound so fast? And then I'd go and make coffee and eat and go sit down and listen to it again. And I'm like, oh, okay, it sounds normal now. Well, that was weird, whatever. I thought that like maybe it was something with the program I was playing the music through or something like that. I had no idea. So it happened the other day after our song released.
So yesterday.
Right. And I was like, oh no, what happened? Like, why does it sound so fast? I Googled it, and apparently when you're fresh from REM sleep, you hear things at higher speeds and higher pitches than they actually are in.
That's so weird that we had the same experience of this.
Well, it is. It is very weird, and it turns out it's like a real thing. I Googled it, and there's tons of people online talking about, why does everything sound faster when I first wake up?
You know what's the funny part about that is Nick and I, okay, so again, the date today is January 28th, Saturday. Our song came out yesterday from our time here recording, January 27th.
Yeah.
But Thursday night, we both, from our remote locations, we kept checking on each other like every hour. You still awake? You still awake? We played video games together till like 9:30.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to keep texting you till midnight.
Yeah.
And we stayed up till midnight and then texted at midnight. Got a lot of comments, messages, things like that. We're engaging with people. I stayed up till 2 a.m. listening to the song on repeat in headphones while talking to people in our Discord about the song.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. Wake up at like 7:30. My wife is just waking up and hearing it released for the first time. And I'm telling you, it sounded 3 times as fast. And I panicked.
I was panicking.
I literally was like, are you speeding that up? That doesn't sound right. And she laughed at me.
Yeah. I was freaked out.
I was like, I do not remember playing this shit that fast.
Exactly, dude.
And it's fast already.
It's very fast. It's supposed to be a fast song, but like I heard it and I was like, that's impossibly fast.
Yeah, like I cannot play this. How did I do this?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, something has to have gone wrong here.
Yeah, that's weird that we had that.
Yeah.
Both.
I wonder if that has anything to do with like the whole "don't talk to me until I've had my coffee" thing.
Oh, bro, gotta be.
Wow.
Because you're in it's proven. You are in a theta brainwave state
and
when
then
you wake up.
talking to you normally, and it's just like
It's like, oh, you're talking too fast. You're too loud. I can't handle it.
Yeah, I'm bad for that. I tell my wife all the time. She's got the Capricorn brain. I'll wake up. She's like, we need to do this, and I'm like, stop.
Give me a minute.
I love you.
Yeah.
Stop. I'm nicer though about it.
It is so. I don't. That's just like a weird random phenomenon. But the point here is that I think, at least for me, I'll just speak from my own perspective. I have been thinking about art the wrong way my whole life. And just within the past, year or two, this is, I honestly had like
you know why, right?
What?
Because we're finally actually making it.
That's what I'm saying. So
and we're perceiving it in a deeper way.
It's weird because like I never fully stopped making music, even for the like 4 or 5 years where I wasn't making metal music. I was making like lo-fi and hip hop and like electronic music. It's just always like I've just always had to do it. It was infrequent, but it always just kind of came out of me, and I never like consciously noticed, but it was always coming through downloads, always. But the thing that would happen would be I would have the download and then I would kind of fill in the rest on my own. and just like, okay, so I got that part from inspiration, and I'll just like fill out the rest with what like I think would sound pretty good or whatever. With the process, and I'm not gonna go too deep on this because, you know what, dude? Let's just announce it. You
announce what?
The twice born. What? All right, we have an EP coming out. We have an EP. We have 6 songs. I'm very excited. This is the first.
Today we're going to record our final drum track, and then it's just downhill from there.
Yeah, it is.
We've been conceptualizing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
From the very moment that we've been conceptualizing the podcast, we've been conceptualizing this.
Yeah.
But music, as it turns out, takes a lot more TLC.
It does, and really that's because we're learning.
That's tender love and care.
Yeah. It really does, but that's because we're learning how to do it ourselves.
Right.
What you guys heard with that single and what you're going to hear on the rest of our EP, which we hope to have out the last Friday of March. That's our goal. But we're going to forgive ourselves if we can't make that goal, and that's going to be okay. But anyway, it's up until this point, you know, we've made music here and there, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But now that we're finally doing this together, it took a long time for us to learn how to do everything ourselves. What you guys have heard in Covellini's, the single, and what you'll hear on the full EP is literally, for most part, it's 100%. There are some features. There are going to be some features. But other than features, Ryan and I did everything. Everything you hear. Like, we played all the instruments. I did the vocals. I'm producing everything myself. And, like, I've been producing music for a decade or more, but, like, as a hobby.
For fun. Never to do, like, a full, serious release. I would release things on SoundCloud, like little songs I make or whatever, but this was the first time it was like, no, this is going to be real. And those are good, by the way. It's Monogon, Monogon. Isn't there a period at the end?
Yeah, I think so. But
y'all should go check that out. Like, there's some great beats on there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And most of it is like just psychic downloads. That was one of my favorite parts about making beats is I could just do it. It would just come out of me real quick, and then boom, it's done. And that's it, you know? With Twiceborn, it was very different, but you know, 100% of it is me and Ryan. It is us making everything. So it took a long time to figure out how to do it all. We know now how to do it all, and now we're just finishing. So it'll be out soon. But we are gonna do when the EP comes out, we're gonna do an episode with you guys where we go over every song and we talk about all of the good little esoteric goodies.
We've spent a lot of time agonizing over every esoteric detail.
Little detail.
I am just so patiently waiting for when the people out there start to ask what these things mean.
Well, we're going to tell you. We're gonna straight up tell you when the EP's out. We're gonna do an episode. But what I will say now, I want to save a lot for that episode. But what I'll say now is every song on this EP. Every part of every song on this EP is all psychic downloads, all of it, every last bit of it. I even considered calling the EP download, like the Greek word for download or something like that, because like the whole thing was all one huge download. And I kind of when I started writing the first song, it just appeared in my head, and the whole song beginning to end just flowed out of me, and I was like, this is magic. It was the first time it fully connected in my brain. Like, am I even doing anything? Like, am I important to this process at all? And when I finally gave in and was like, you're important, but it's because you've been chosen to bring this specific idea forward.
Yeah, and like for anybody that doesn't play an instrument, it's not like you pluck a guitar until you hear a sound you like, and it's like, yeah, let's go with that. It's the opposite. And the same with drums, the way I work. It's like you hear it in your head first, and then you just finely tune your body to actualize it, you know?
Yeah.
And like even when we first did our like writing together and we were working on the second song, or maybe it was the third, Opsianos, Nick came over for a podcast weekend, and he was like halfway done.
Literally, I was at the halfway point.
For months and months, I'd be riding in the car, I'd be hearing this rhythm in my head, and it would drive me crazy, and I would even tell my wife, like, man, I just can't wait to get to the point where me and Nick can like write this stuff together, because, you know, initially we lived 2 hours apart. Nick was writing every bit of it, and then I'm slapping the drums on there, and now it's kind of morphing, and we're writing everything together and growing.
Yeah, because here's the thing: you get into a room with artists or musicians or whatever, you're just multiplying the number of antennas.
Right.
Like, even if somebody's in the room that's not an artist or a musician, they're still an antenna.
Yeah.
They could very well pick up on things that,
like Rick Rubin. He's not a musician.
He's not. He's just in the room.
Same with Tom Barber from Darko. He used to play drums a little bit, but he's told me his process. Like, they even do it on the song Dragon Chaser. Him and his buddy Josh. Mm-hmm. He'll be like, "Yo, what if you're just like blah 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 blah," and then they turn it into a song, and it's sick as fuck.
That is how great works come forward. They come through downloads.
Any way possible, you just get that idea out there, and then it's like, how do we collect it? How do we harness it?
Even in writing the lyrics for these songs, what I will do is, I think I'm comfortable in saying at this point, we can let this one little detail out there. Every song on the EP is about a god from a different mythology. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say at this point right now.
And that's why they sound so radically different. But
right. They'd sound so radically different. So even with the lyrics, even with writing the lyrics, I knew, like, okay, I want to tap into the source. I want to tap into the down, wherever the downloads are coming from.
The archetype.
Yeah. So I need to spark inspiration. It's like smacking flint together. Like, it's like, I need the spark. So what I would do is, if I was writing a song like Covellini's, I'll talk about Covellini since it's out already.
It's out, yeah.
We decided that the song was going to be about the Japanese god Raijin. So I was like, I have to just do every bit of research I possibly can about Raijin so that I can write from his perspective. That's why the song sounds so chaotic. Like, it sounds like an angry, vengeful god being released from a prison, and instantaneously, the second he gets out of that prison, unleashing his fury on people who are attacking.
You didn't say what he's the god of.
He's the god of lightning and storms. He's the god of storms.
Thunder, lightning, and storms.
And so the story that I shouldn't talk about it too much, because we're going to do an episode about that. But basically, I just did a bunch of research about that god, and I allowed the inspiration to come to me afterwards. So it's like I would get all the foundation of knowledge about that god, and then I would meditate and just wait for the words to come.
Yo, this is, honestly, I just read this yesterday because, full disclosure, like, Nick is writing the lyrics, and I'm giving him little ideas here and there. He's like, yeah, that's cool. And then he'll run and he'll just write it. And like, we've got so much going on with the podcast. I'm not able to know every detail about every little thing. Mm-hmm. And I saw the Covellini's lyrics for the first time yesterday when they were uploaded. And I'm like, yo, this is sick as fuck. Like, you really think you ever stood a chance against the one who holds lightning as a lance?
That's one of my favorite lines.
I had no clue that was in there.
Really?
No, it's all screaming. I don't understand every word of screaming. I don't have the ear for that.
That's possibly.
I like the sound.
That might be my favorite line in the song.
Yeah, that's
it's like he's like cocky. He's like, I'm the god of thunder. Like you're rolling up on the island that worships me, and you think I'm not gonna do something about it. It's like, it's cocky. It's like he is drunk with his confidence and his power. You really think you ever stood a chance against the one who holds lightning as a lance? Like, you think you got it in you, like that part?
Let's groove.
Let's groove. Let's get it popping. It's literally,
and that's funny too, because he's a drummer.
That's why
he bangs these Japanese war drums to summon lightning and thunder.
That's why the song says, "Bring the hammer down." He's bringing the hammer down on the drum to call glory from the clouds in the form of lightning and hurricanes and tornadoes. And so I'll save the source story where I got that inspiration. I'll save that for the full episode of the Twice Born thing. Yeah. But
for sure.
Yeah, I think that about covers what we wanted to talk about.
Well, I was going to say that. I never got
to
say the thing. Like, the fun part about Opsianos was, for weeks I was like, damn, I hear this thing in my head, and I would even talk to my wife about it. Like, I hear this thing. And she's like, well, what's it sound like? I'm like, I don't know. Dun, 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 dun. And then we get together and Nick is halfway through this crazy ass song. And I'm like hearing it in my head. And then he gets to this point. He's like, I don't know what's next. And I said, how about this?
And then literally with your mouth, you were like, I've been thinking about something like this. Dun, 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 ba, ba, da, bum, 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 bum. And I was like, yeah, that. Yeah. And then I just immediately recorded it, and I was like, oh, yeah. That's it.
And then within like 2 minutes, you were able to finish the rest of
done. It was done.
The rest of the song.
It's because, dude, when the universe, think about it like fishing. Like, I know that fishing sucks for fishes. I said fishes. Fishing.
That's correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it depends on if
philosophizing.
No, if
that's a real word.
Yeah,
it's fishes if they're all the same species, but fish if it's
like different.
Yeah,
like,
I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy. But think about it like a lure. There a little line is being dropped, and it's like all you got to do is grab it. All you have to do is grab it. And if you're a fish, you'll die. But if you're...
I've released a bunch of fish, man.
Yeah. And you know what? They had a transformative religious experience being pulled out of the water.
Bro, they're abducted. By aliens.
By aliens, yes. Okay.
From another world.
Exactly.
There's a SpongeBob episode about that.
There is. Yes, there is. I'm loving all these SpongeBob references, bro. That's near and dear to my heart. But the truth is, you have to accept those gifts with grace. You have to accept them with excitement, like, oh, the gods are granting me a glimpse into their world. Like, because art it transcends our five senses.
Just remember, David played the secret chord that pleased the Lord.
Yeah.
It's esoteric.
It is.
Music
and
is
that's
magic.
That's what happened in that moment with Opsianos.
It's like trance mediumship, honestly.
I was in that moment with Opsianos, I was able to latch on to the stream that you were connected to. I was able to say, oh yeah, let's follow it. And we were able to latch onto it together, and boom, the whole song got finished just like that because we followed the stream. You know, life is but a dream. You just merrily down the, like, you got to go with the flow. Be like water. This is all... There are reasons that people say these things, and you might hear it like, get out of your own way, go with the flow, be like water. And you're like, what does that even mean? It literally means meditate,
pretty much, yeah.
Ego death.
Empty your mind.
Empty your mind.
Meditate.
Pull the ego out of it. You are not, like, you're just a vessel. Like, we have learned this to be true. We're wizards, bro.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I've always kind of seen myself as like a modern Merlin.
Yeah, you're a modern Merlin, man. Yeah. So music is magic. To art is magic. To all of our artists out there, I hope that this was like a cool insight, you know? And at very least, it's something for you to try out. Rather than focusing on improving your quote-unquote skills in whatever your craft is, focus on honing that antenna. Do things like meditate, be out in nature, appreciate good art, you know, find inspiration in random places, pick up a book, flip to a random page and read the first thing that appears. It's like you will find something. Just realize you have to come to terms with the fact that it's not you.
Yeah, it's not like we're saying, you know, don't develop skill. You have to have skill for the vessel to be strong. But it's like you just got to have the right attitude about it.
Yeah, there are times to hone your skill in your craft, but when it comes time to make great work,
that time is over.
That time's over.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. Make room for it to come through.
Yeah.
That's it. We love y'all. And stream that Twiceborn shit, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, Corvalini's The Storm. We are now on Apple Music and Spotify and YouTube.
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
Follow us on Instagram.
Pandora,
Twiceborn Band.
Twiceborn Band. Check us out.
It's all linked to our personal profile. So if you follow me on Instagram, I have Twiceborn linked in there under the podcast link.
Yeah, we are obnoxiously sharing tons of Twiceborn shit. So we love you all very much. We appreciate all the support. We're going to keep making music for the rest of our lives.
Hell yeah.
Love you guys. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.
Peace.